Hi, this is Gary Williams. Welcome back to COVID Conversations, and a big, very excited welcome to Jon Courtenay, who's sitting there. How are you doing, Jon?
Hi, Gary. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Nice to talk to you today. Now, last time we spoke, which was only a few weeks ago, you had no work and no money, and now you're rich and famous. You've done quite well. I'd like to think I'd like to think our conversation somehow had something to do with it.
Couldn't have done it without you, Gary. What can I
Ah,
say?
yeah, that's nice. Yeah. I mean, you have been on what a journey. What a journey. I mean, winning BGT. You will have answered the stock quote. What was it like and all the rest of it? But you know what I'm really interested in is I'm really interested in. I mean, did you have any inkling that you might be sort of being, I don't know, fast tracked by the producers, or they sort of pegged you from day one as someone they thought, this guy, we want this guy in the final?
Yeah, it's nobody's actually. It's a really interesting question, and I've spoken about it with my wife Emma a lot, and even had a couple of conversations with some of the people at the studio, because as far as BGT experiences go, mine was pretty much up there. I mean, it was the golden buzzer got me straight through to the semis. Then I was the judge's choice for the finals, and then I was the last act on in the finals, which is the best place to be just before the voting opens. So I can't tell you that anybody said to me, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. That never happened. I never had a conversation with anybody. I've never heard any rumors. Nobody's ever told me anything. It was just me sort of doubting myself and sort of thinking, this has gone way too smoothly. And also, I mean, I know you're the same. I mean, I think we talked a bit about the fact that I messed up my semi-final song, but I was probably the only one that knew that. But even so, it affected me because I was upset with myself because I forgot to sing half the song. So I came off after the semi-finals before the judges had chosen me to go through, thinking that I'd ruined sort of this big opportunity that I had because I'd messed up the song. But then I had to remind myself that nobody knew I'd messed up the song. I knew I'd messed up the song. I knew I'd forgotten half the song, but I covered it and nobody really
I
knew.
knew, I knew,
Thanks.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you knew. Makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'll ever know what went on behind the scenes. I know that the judges like me. I did have conversations with them after the audition at the Palladium. They said the loveliest things and had some lovely conversations with them. Ant and Dec really liked me. I don't believe that there's any coercion from
I mean, it's
producers.
interesting, isn't it? So, I mean, some people might say, "Oh, it's a fix. Oh, it's a fix," and I've never thought that it's a fix. But I do think, we both are in a business where we are producing shows, whether it's our own show or get involved in producing others. We know what it's about to produce an entertainment, and it's always seemed to me that the producers, I think, they're going to look at it and going to think, okay, these are the people that we've got going into the competition, and here's our dream lineup. Here's who we, for the final. Here's how we would, because you don't want, even if they're chosen. I mean, you could. It's like arranging a dinner party, right? You could have a real sort of odd mix. You could have too many of one. It sort of needs organizing. It's not just down to, well, you're great and you're great and you're great. Well, that may be, but those three may not make a great final. May not
No,
make a great show.
absolutely.
So my suspicion has always been that the producers look at it and think, well, this would be a great lineup for the final. I'm sure that, I mean, they're going to talk to the judges, I would have thought, and they're not going to say, vote for this guy and don't vote for this guy, but I'm sure
No,
there's a general sort of
this
feeling.
is what
And
we'd
the,
like. This sort of
yeah, and the fact that you
maybe. I
felt
mean,
that you were sort of getting, I mean, it was almost like you were fast tracked, right? And that's not to take anything away from what you did, of course, because if you were being sort of fast tracked, it's because they believed in you from the beginning.
yeah. I mean, I think you've still got to come up with the goods. Obviously, I mean, they're not going to fast track somebody who's going to step up to the plate. But yeah, there were five magic acts in the finals.
Mm,
So I don't think anybody with a blank piece of paper would necessarily say for the finals of a variety show we want five magic acts.
true,
Um,
true.
so, but a lot of them were put through by the public. Only one was put through by the judges. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll ever know, and I will forever be grateful for what happened. I don't want
Exactly.
to
Who
know.
cares? I
Yeah,
mean, were you
it's
worried about going on, John? Because as a fantastic, very well established actor yourself that's been earning a very good living for a long time, doing what you do. did you feel that it could have gone wrong? I mean, there was something to lose, right? I mean, if it could have gone wrong for you, there was a risk.
Yeah, there was a long time that, I mean, obviously this is the 14th year, and I don't think I've ever watched a whole episode because I'm normally working as well. I'll come home and Emma will have recorded it, and we'll watch the train wrecks and we'll watch the good bits and whatever. And my kids had always said, "Why don't you do it?" And I'd always had an excuse. And back in the day, Simon didn't like cruise ship acts. Cruise ship acts were dismissed. That was almost one of his put downs. You know, well, you might be all right on a cruise ship, and then it would be dismissed.
Which we hated hearing, right? I mean, it was so
well,
awful
absolutely.
to
I
hear
mean,
that.
you know, you and I both know that those are there's some of the greatest entertainment on the ships, and there's some of the great. It became the new circuit, you know, when the working men's clubs closed down, and God knows they weren't always salubrious. Whereas the ships is an amazing market, great theatres, great bands. But it did mean I'd been doing that for so long that nobody knew me in the UK. I hadn't done, aside from one or two sort of corporate shows and one or two private events, nobody knew my name in the UK at all. So I was literally at the point of sort of thinking, well, what have I got to lose? If Simon said, and also to be fair, Simon hasn't used cruise ships as a put down for a long time. I think it was pointed out to him 5, 6, 7 years ago that a lot of their professional acts that were going on the show were coming from cruise ships. So one of them did point out to me that, you know, when was the last time you heard Simon say that? And I said, that's a fair point. It hasn't been for a long time. But then I thought, even if he does say that, it's not going to affect my cruise ship work. You know, I'm established on the ships and work will carry on. So really, I did it because I thought I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. For me, my blinkered idea at the beginning was just to do the Palladium. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to appear on the stage at the Palladium, obviously not knowing I was going to get the golden buzzer or anything. So yeah, came up with the idea of the first song, did the Palladium, ticked it off my list. That was that done, and then the buzzer happened, and then I had to keep writing stuff.
I mean, what was it like once the cameras stopped, once you'd won and the cameras stopped rolling, what happens? What's going on? What don't we see? Are you whisked off somewhere? What goes on immediately after?
This year it was horrible because, as you and I both know, being showbiz lovers, we like to hug a lot, and there was no hugging. You can't. Nobody's hugging. That was horrible because, you know,
Yes.
at the audition, Amanda and Alicia are very big huggers, and you know, it's not the worst thing in the world hugging Amanda or Alicia. So the audition was lovely. They all came up on the stage afterwards, but at the finals, of course, there was none of that. Ant and Dec would. I mean, you can just see before the credit, I'm going, come on, I want to hug you, and it was really frustrating. So that was weird. And then literally, there's lots of people coming up and chatting to you. There's lots of photos in the studio. There's photos with the judges, all socially distanced. And then literally you are whisked away down a very ugly scaffold corridor into another room with a gorgeous gold backdrop, and you have more publicity pictures taken. And then I'd had to hand my phone to one of the runners just before I walked on stage. As all the acts are going on stage to do the finals, we're all handing our phones over. So literally all I want to do is phone my wife and my mum, make sure my mum's still breathing. And I can't find the runner who has my phone. So I'm just asking her, where's my phone? Who has my phone? We'll get it for you. Don't worry. I said, I need it now. My wife's just watched this happen and she's trying to call me. So there was probably about 40 minutes of being dragged from pillar to post. And then a quick, caught up with Ant and Dec and got my phone, did a quick FaceTime with Emma. We live in a little cul-de-sac of about 7 houses, and I phoned Emma on FaceTime, and it was like the Queen's Jubilee. Everybody in all our houses had come out into the street and was cheering and drinking champagne. So I managed to FaceTime with Ant and Dec, and everybody said hi. So that was really nice. Yeah.
And let's get real. I mean, it's made a huge, on normal times, it would make a massive difference to anybody's career. But now with COVID, I mean, you know, nobody's got any work. Everybody's frightened to death of how they're going to be paying the mortgage in a few months. You know, the future is very uncertain, and it's quite scary. So this has been, I mean, an incredible gift for you, hasn't it? I got to tell you, it was so fantastic to see some good news for somebody in the entertainment, right? Just for somebody, particularly somebody I know in the entertainment business, like, thank goodness, you know, and good for you. I mean, it's made, I mean, just the money alone has made a massive difference, right? It would do to anybody.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. I mean, same as everybody. We were literally. I mean, one of the papers actually. I actually said this to Amanda just after we'd finished recording, and she obviously, because I did her radio show on Monday morning after the results, and we were just chatting. There was no cameras on. It was just me and her having a good old natter. And she said, "What does the money mean to you?" I said, "Amanda, I'm not kidding. I was down to 500 quid. I mean, overdraft, everything was maxed out. Credit cards. I'd bought my studio gear that I was trying to use for virtual shows, hoping that would pay off. Literally,
Well, it did. It did now.
Literally,
As now.
literally 500 quid. And the next thing I know, one of the newspapers is saying, "So we've heard you're down to your last 500." She's like, "Gossip that, Amanda, I tell you." Yeah, no, I mean, the money. Obviously a huge help, and of course it is frustrating because I want, not just me, I want all my friends, I want all of us to be working again. I want life to go back to normal like we all do, and we are looking at my tour next year. I'm looking at getting some, touring some theaters next year, which is really exciting. But in the meantime, there's things that, theaters are going to be opening. There are pantos happening at Christmas, there are theaters opening, and things going on. So I'm desperate to not just for me, but to get my show out there and to get friends working as well, to come. It isn't going to change anybody's life, but I just want to get the shows out there again. And while I've got this little bit of media exposure, I'm going to do my best to try and use that to try and get some shows up and running.
And what is the feeling? I mean, you talk about shows on sale. I've got shows in London, cabaret shows on sale at Christmas, but I mean, everything's just so sort of up in the air, isn't it? And it seems to change day by day. So you're there in the UK now. I mean, how confident are you that the pantomimes or Christmas shows are actually going to happen?
Well, tickets are selling quickly for socially distanced. I mean, the Palladium have got their panto going. The Kudos panto is happening, socially distanced. There's a couple of pantos up north happening, apparently, which one of them is I have people now talking to my people to try and see if there's an opportunity there that I can get involved in, whatever. You've done Crazy Cocks, haven't you?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I do the Crazy Cocks a lot. So I normally in December, that's a big time for me doing Christmas shows there. So I've got 10 Christmas shows on sale now, which, fingers crossed, it's all going to happen. Why? Amazing. Am I going to see you there? Am I going to be supporting you?
I'm gonna come and see you as well. They've been in touch because obviously with the social distancing it was already a small venue, wasn't it? And now it's become a teeny venue. But I'm really keen to get out there and do something before I start doing the theatre stuff next year, because I haven't done my show for 8 months. I don't know if I can remember my show. So,
well, you're going to love that room. You're going to love that room, and everybody there is absolutely delightful. And for anybody that's watching this is thinking about maybe coming to see you perform live. I mean, they're going to have a very nice surprise, aren't they? Because I was surprised to having seen your act. It's a very high energy, very fun, sort of packed show, an award-winning show. And what you've done with BGT is a tiny bit of that. It's just one thing that you do, right? And in your show, if people are expecting, 2 hours of what you've shown as you do on BGT, they're going to have a very happy surprise, because there's that plus lots more, right?
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird because what I did for BGT, I haven't really done before. I mean, I've always had 1 or 2 songs in my show that are written, about whatever original stuff that I've written, and then it's a mixture of stand-up. There's a bunch of normal songs, like yourself, big Sinatra fan, Sammy Davis, Mr. Bojangles was in my show for a long time. I do a little tribute to Sammy Davis. So that show, I'm quite lucky because my stage show is there. I've got the foundations of my theatre show, which is pre-existing, and then throw into that the stuff I've written for Britain's Got Talent. Obviously, I've got some stories to tell now. There's backstage gossip, all that kind of stuff, which I'm going to put in. But yeah, it's going to be. I'm excited to write the new theatre show and the sort of take what I already had from my one-man show, and trying to expand on it a bit and write some more
you're
stuff.
Lucky, and that the people that come and see you are lucky, because unlike some people that have won some talent competitions and may do in the future, you as an established act, it's already there. You're not some kid who's just come out of nowhere and won a competition and then is going to be shoved out on tour and doesn't have a clue how to do it. You've been doing it for years, right?
I think we've both worked with performers that have got a tight 7 minutes, and
but what are 7 minutes?
Yeah, all of a sudden they've got to do an hour-long theatre show, or with an interval, or whatever. It's yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in a position where I had to suddenly put that together. As I say, I'm quite lucky that I can take what I've got and add to it and add
And do you
this
think
Britain's
there are
Got
going to be
Talent stuff.
people now involved? I mean, were you before you actually even once you agreed to be a part of BGT, were you made to or asked to sign a contract, which meant that you were taking on you were getting new representation, or if you won? I mean, now that you've won, is Simon taking a bit of the pie? Are you part of the? You've sort of fallen into this sort of machine that's now this conveyor belt that's going to take you on a journey, and you've got you've got new management.
I think no. I mean, I've got the same management. I had management when I went into Britain's Got Talent. That I started working with because of this, really. Because as I say, I hadn't worked in the UK. I had my agent for the cruise ship work, but I didn't want that to clash because I love doing the ships. Hopefully the ships will always be there. Hopefully I'll get paid a bit more now. But I'll always, it's always nice to think that I can just get a phone call and nip off for a couple of days to the Seychelles and do a show on a ship. That's fantastic. But obviously I want to try and pursue my UK career now. This has given me the opportunity. So I have got management. I don't know how it works. I mean, the contract for BGT is this thick. And they have options that they can take out depending on what your show is. I mean, I don't think Simon Cowell looked at me and thought, "Ching, I'm not a chart act. I'm not unless I have a random Christmas number one or something. I'm not going to be his new One Direction or No Direction or whatever." So I don't think I'm that act. But at the same time, there's no reason why I can't release an album or write more stuff for an album. So I don't know.
I mean, if you do, I mean, did you read the contract? I mean, do you know what's in it? And if because you would imagine, wouldn't you, that sign, that'd be fine.
Yeah,
That'd be
really.
fine.
Yeah, my
That'd be fine.
manager signed on my behalf. Yeah.
But I mean, but you would imagine, wouldn't you, that you're part of this machinery, and that if there's, if you may well have a Christmas number one. I mean, there are people, you're the hot new thing. So I'm surprised if they will just let you go off in the world with all of that kudos and not want a part of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I doubt they're just going to let me go off. I think with COVID and everything, it's the first year for them to experience this as well. It's not normal, whereas normally I'd be out doing corporate gigs tomorrow and earning tens of thousands of hours. That's not happening. I'm doing some virtual stuff online, which obviously they're not fussed about, sort of the pennies here and there. There's the BGT tour, which obviously I'll be a part of, and then they do they do this championship now as well, don't they? Where they have AGT and BGT, and Germany's got, and people come together and do a show.
I didn't
as
know
well.
that. Wow.
So yeah, I guess I'll be a part of that. So. But that's great. I mean, they've got options to take a percentage of stuff. I believe I haven't really read the small print. I didn't think I'd get this far. I'd probably find out that I am now Simon Cowell's bitch for the next 10 years. Probably.
Well, there's worse things you could be, probably, especially now we know it. Now we know he likes cruise ships. I mean, just before I let you go, what have you learned from this experience? I mean, from all of this from the journey, from all of the television. I mean, as a performer, you've probably never done so much TV before. Certainly, never been seen by so many people.
No.
What if you were going to do it again? Are there things which you would do differently or be better prepared for? If you were going to write a little guide for somebody, or if you were mentoring someone who was just about to enter BGT, what sort of things would you be telling them?
Well, I found out that I hate in-ear monitors. That's something I discovered that I never knew. Awful things. So used them in my semis and came off stage and pulled them out and said, never again. I don't know. It entirely comes down to what you do. It comes down to what you're offering as a talent, I think. I think I was quite lucky in that what I was doing was quite original. That not just in writing my own songs, because everybody keeps throwing the name Victoria Wood around, which is amazing, and I'm incredibly flattered, obviously. But even with that, I think what I wrote for BGT, for each part of the competition, I wrote something specifically for that and about that and sung about that. And it was David that pointed it out after the semi-finals. He said, what you do is you sing about the here and now. You sing a song about being on that stage right now, facing us doing a song. And I went, well, yeah, they say write about what you know. And that's pretty much what I know right now, So of course, that's what I'm writing about. So for me, that was what I did, and I wouldn't want to try and mentor anybody, because a bit of advice for me might not apply to anybody else. I think just enjoy it and just try and be true to yourself, because there's a lot of people telling you stuff. There's a lot of producers and directors and runners and people asking you. They can't tell you anything because it's a competition. So unless it's not unless you're being offensive and they can't broadcast something. I had people saying to me for my semi-finals thing, I wanted to stand up at a certain point and I wanted to do a certain joke, and they said we don't like that, and I went, oh, okay. And in actual fact, I would have been, one time I did say, well, I like it, so I'm doing it. Sort of once I found my voice, because it's very overwhelming. You've got, and these people are they're lovely. Everybody on the show is, I'm not just saying that, they are lovely. Every single person. I did not have a single bad experience with anybody on the show. And that's not in my contract to say that, it is true. But yeah, I think just sort of stand up for yourself.
That was Simon Cowell saying thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Just stand up for yourself a little bit and just, be confident in what you're doing and what you've got to offer, and just say, if you want me, then this is what I'm going to. Yeah, take the advice as well, because they know what they're talking about. They've been through that process. Some of the stuff I listened to, some of it I didn't, and it worked out okay.
It certainly did. Jon, thank you so much. I know now you're super busy. You're the man. You're the hot guy. You're the man everybody wants to talk to. So I'm flattered. Or is that not true? You're just you're going to have a nap now and just watch a bit of telly.
Yeah, pretty much. I've got to finish writing my Royal Variety song, which they want the lyrics of urgently.
What a lovely sentence to hear you say. I have to finish writing my Royal Variety song. You didn't say that last time we were chatting. That's nice, isn't it?
No, that's the weirdest thing to say out loud. I'm still buzzing. But I don't want to stop buzzing. I want all this to be amazing every second. I never want to be blasé about it, and meeting these people. And well, I think one of the greatest things that's going to come out of this is I'm going to get to work with people who are at the top of their game. Not to say that I haven't done that before, but I haven't really done television. I haven't done much in the UK, and now I'm having these Zoom meetings and calls with people that are the movers and shakers in the British entertainment business, which is a huge honour and very exciting. So I'm looking forward to what the future brings.
I'm so excited for you. Thanks, Jon. Take care. Have a great day, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you very much. Lovely to chat to you, mate. See you soon.